Who is it? Why didn't you tell me you were coming by? I'd have put on some coffee. You came to see the Scamp, huh? So before I show you inside of the Scamp, I just want to tell you a little story about the Scamp. So I had originally found a Scamp, and that's the one you found me here in Maryland. And I came home for Christmas. I brought it down to Florida with me. But that Scamp, what did it have? Bunk beds up front?
It had 2 bunk beds.
2 bunk beds. And then the front dinette turned into a bed. So that was going to be able to accommodate 4 people. Okay? So I was getting ready to have that Scamp. I was going to have a custom front bunk bed that could hold 3 kids, because I got 3 kids. And so I had the Scamp. I brought it over to this outfit called RetroRenos, which I'm going to tell you a lot about. And the guy there, Daniel, was going to custom build me a whole new front, but they were going to rehab the whole thing. So they found me a sink, a refrigerator, tile for a backsplash, basically everything I needed to kit out that Scamp. And that Scamp had the infrastructure for the kitchen on both sides of the Scamp. And what happened was another Scamp came up for sale on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist that had kitchen stuff here, but a dinette on the other side and a dinette in the back. And instead of a bathroom up here, it had a closet. So I got to thinking, I was like, this design would probably work better for my family if I could have Daniel take out that closet and switch my bunk beds into here, because then I could have 2 kids on the bunk beds, 1 kid on the dinette, and me and my wife on the big dinette. And I called Daniel in RetroRenos to talk about that. And him and his wife, Raquel, said, yeah, I think we can make something happen. Let me tell you what they did. They found me a buyer for my old Scamp. They found me a buyer for all the things that I had purchased to go with the Scamp. Well, they had purchased. They had put the money out there without any kind of help from me. So they were ready. They were already invested in this project. So they go, no, we're on board, dude. Bring your new camper over, and we'll take care of it for you. Let me show you what we got now. You see that floor? They did that for me. It used to just be some nasty carpet down there. You see this screen door right here? They took this screen door.
Wow, that's nice.
Hooked that up for me. Here's what they had to do. They had to take a closet out of here and take bunk beds from the old camper. And so they hooked up bunk beds in here. They had to custom fabricate a wall so they could accommodate my screen door and my bunk beds. So now I can put 1 kid here and 1 kid here. Come on inside. This is a 2-seater dinette underneath here. So I can put one of my kids there. And then me and the wifey can sleep here. So the old camper had like a stove here and then the refrigerator there. It had kitchen stuff on both sides. This layout is much better. It's a more wide open feel, and it definitely accommodates my family of 5. This layout definitely fits my family way better. RetroRenos, Raquel and Danielle, they got me these curtains, made me these curtains, made me these cushion covers. They painted all the cabinets. We talked about the floor already, and they hooked up, Daniel went through everything, just make sure everything was functioning properly. My fantastic fan, my escape hatch, my air conditioning. And then let's take a look around the outside. Yeah, so they were going to do that floor in my old camper, and then they just moved it over to my new camper. So over here, Daniel and Raquel hooked me up with an outdoor shower. So sweet. That way if we go to the beach and then back to the campground, my kids will have a place to, get the sand off their feet. We've got my outdoor outlet here. And before I brought it to them, I had new tires put on. I've got my electric over here. Over here, Daniel hooked up my whole hitch area, whatever you call the front of the frame, the tongue, maybe. Cleaned that all up, painted it nice. As a disclaimer, I just want you to know, I didn't have them touch the outside. I was moving back home to the Annapolis, Maryland, DC area, where there's a lot of boat people and boat repair. So they said, you know, why don't you bring it by one of these boat folks and have them polish it and buff it out, and you know, you can get the outside looking good. But they did not do any of this. This was the previous owner getting crazy with the caulk. So when I'm telling you that this is a RetroRenos job, the exterior is not their fault. Don't blame them. They didn't do anything to the exterior. I had to choose, you know, budget-wise what I wanted to do. They put me a nice exterior shower on here, and they did all my interior work. And just as a nice service, Daniel for me checked everything over, made sure my air conditioning was functioning properly, made sure my awning pulled out and worked properly. He came over and cleaned up the tongue area real nice, sanded it down, spray painted it, got me looking good there. But they're not responsible for any of this, you know. Don't look at this and say, why is it still ugly on the outside? That's my fault. That's the choices I made, was not to do an exterior cleaning. If you have one of these Scamps and you're not super handy, which I'm not, you take your Scamp to RetroRenos in Jacksonville, Florida, right off of 95. They will hook it up for you. They did a great job. They're honest, they're caring, they're cool, they're knowledgeable about Scamps, and they can definitely hook you up. And yeah, money well spent as far as I'm concerned. So here's what they did. Here was the key part. They took my old Scamp, they got all the parts together, and then I was like, oh my God, I found this better Scamp. They said, no problem. Found me a buyer for the old Scamp with all the parts that they had invested their own money into to get me ready for this project. Didn't give me a hard time, hooked up my new project, and took care of the old camper, getting it sold and rehabbed to the specifications of the new buyer. So I was gonna have them custom build it for me. They pivoted to custom build it for somebody else, and then focused on getting my new camper, new to me, my new old camper, the way I needed it. So they made two happy customers like that. Can't say enough good things about them.